Okay, welcome. Today we're going to be doing a couple small things. I want to draw the vultures exploding, just like how when we die, we explode. See how we pop like that? I'm going to make sure we give the vultures a little exploding animation. And then maybe we'll start to add collision for us, the ostrich and the egg, so that we can start to get points and stuff. So shouldn't be too hard. I'm gonna see in our ostrich class what our logic is for the current explosion animation. We just draw 3 different frames of explosion if we're self-exploded, which we have a self.exploded in our vulture class. Pretty sure. Yeah. So we need to do something like this for our vulture, saying, hey, if we're not exploded, draw our vulture. So look, if not self-exploded, do this, otherwise, hold on, this is spawning. Okay, so if there's an else over here, if not self-exploded, we say otherwise, which is part that is exploded. If self.exploded, you know, we need to do this same explosion timer idea that we have. But for right now, I do like being verbose about it, saying it right here. Else if self-exploded, then just to be verbose about it. And then now this explosion 1 is a drawable sprite that we should have access to in our vulture, but we need to start this explosion timer. So we need to say, if we're in the update function of our vulture, we need to say if we're exploded, then we increment our explosion timer. And then we don't need to do this death thing because it's a little different with the vulture, but here. In our update function, we need to find the spot where we're asking if we're exploded or not. So, else if exploded right here. If we're exploded, self-explosion timer gets that. So that explosion timer will start, and then this is how we decide which explosion frame to draw. And we don't want to render it at our self.x, self.y. Actually, no, we do. Because we stop updating our y position. I think that might work. Let's see if that adds the explosion when we kill him. Nope. Vulture 349. Self.explosion timer is nil. We don't have a self.explosion timer. Okay, so we're gonna be hitting the vulture and hopefully it makes a little explosion sprite. Nope. We're not rendering it. Are we? We are. Graphics.draw. The thing is, we're only rendering the vulture if we're not exploded, I think. Well, let's see. See, look, if we're exploded, then render this, but we also need to render. What happens if we render? Fuck. We rendered the vulture here. We render every vulture. Do we disappear vulture or move it upon a collision? You know, it's like we need the last X and last Y of our I'm gonna say we're just gonna render this at 5.5 for all of these, and see if the main problem here is that we're just not seeing the render. Because my current guess is we're doing something upon the collision, kind of moving it to the graveyard or whatever, right? Then we can't see the explosion. So we're looking for the explosion in the top left here. Yeah. Okay, so that tells me we need to put a last X and a last Y here. And when our vulture gets exploded, oh look, we have that last X and last Y. When are we assigning that? If we're not exploded, we update our last X and then, okay, so it should stay whatever its last X is. Okay, so if we put self.lastX here, last X, and then a self.lastY, and then we just copy this for the other explosions, then we should have an explosion rendered at the last X and Y position that our vulture was at before we exploded. Okay, nice, nice. That kind of works great. Like the egg kind of came out of the explosion, right? What if we had... I'm going to look at the original here. I think the explosion happens first and then the egg comes out. Yeah, I don't know. It kind of happens just really fast. Maybe this is half as much as ours. 0.05 to 0.01 to 0.1, 1.5. Just to make it faster, because if you look at the original here, look, when I kill him, look how fast the explosion happens. It just kind of happens real fast. Faster than when... Seems like faster than when we get killed, but... Okay. So the animation is fast, but it lingers. We need a explosion timer. Yeah, how do we say we only... If we're exploded... Yeah, how does it know how long to draw this one? It's like I need to give it another value to be like, if you're bigger than 2, then you're not rendering anything. I want the fast explosion and not lingering on that third frame. Why does it linger on that third frame? Why did it let me compile when there was a spelling error like that? Come on. How do you get it to disappear faster? I don't know how to make it. C smaller than or equal to this, draw this explosion 3. So if this was really small, that means we shouldn't even need that. That's a small number. It should just disappear. Why does it take 3 seconds to disappear? Oh, 0.05 to 0.1 to 1.2 is why. If it goes 0.05 to 1 to 1.5, 0.15, that's the right number. Yeah. I mean, it's a little faster than when we die. Because look at, well, yeah, I don't know. I think that's okay. Yeah, I feel like ours needs to be a bit faster too then, but maybe not as fast as that. Just a little, like, we need. And then, no, we want. Okay, I like that. And then if we die. Oh, that didn't look good. You guys saw how bad that looked, yeah. It's like when I want to die, it's hard for me to get killed. There we go. Okay, I'm happy with that. So let's add. I like that. That looks fine. Let's add collision detection for the eggs. I'm gonna just do a git add real quick. Git commit with a message saying added egg explosion, or it's vulture explosion sprite. Okay, then we're gonna git push it. Then we're gonna do another one where we're gonna try to we gotta cycle through all our eggs, compare it with our ostrich, and then add some sort of point system. So we need to figure out how the point system works. But for now, I guess we can just say, we can just go for the collision detection and the deletion of the egg. And then by deletion of the egg, I really kind of mean we're going to reinstantiate the same vulture in a new table for the new wave. and that effectively deletes the vulture, but we'll need to increment our score by whatever points we get, which we'll have to figure out how to do. Figure out how the game implements points. It has something to do with time, like if you get the egg in the first second it spawns, you get the most amount of points for it, and then less and less points until it'll hatch and become a new enemy. But I guess let's just try to get it to be, we need to cycle through all vulture's eggs. So we cycle through every vulture, and if egg ground collides, see, now we need to use the true collision of our ostrich. I think we have a true collision collides here. We can take an ostrich collides, pass in the egg object, because it has a x, a width, and a y, and a height. We should be able to do that. So we can say not only are we going to go through every vulture and check if the egg is colliding with the ground, but we're going to check if our player collides with our vulture.egg, and our vulture lowercase egg will be every value in the pair of table of vultures. So we're going to be saying player 1 collides, asking if player 1 collides with every one of the vulture's eggs. And if so, we can just move, we can say increment point or whatever to remind us to put points in. But we can just assign that vulture's egg X and Y to be off screen. Because it's like we don't, I don't exactly know yet how to delete values, because we don't want to delete it from the vulture's table because it'll shift the indexes. So for right now, we kind of just send them to the graveyard, we call it, which is like the top left of the screen outside of visible area, where we're giving vulture's eggs X, a vulture's eggs negative width. So its X is just off screen to the left, and its Y is just off screen. Its height. So if we collide with any of the vulture eggs with the true AABB collision of this function we wrote, then we'll move our egg out of screen, giving the illusion of it disappearing, because it'll still render the egg. It'll still try to render the egg, but it's off screen. So I don't know if that takes some more. That's not what I wanted. Let's see. We're going to see if I can interact with the egg. Yep, it did it right away. We need to set a little timer so I don't run into it right away, but that I can have some time to go get it. So I'm going to see in the original if when you pick up the egg anything happens, any specific animation, or if it just disappears upon contact. And we can give it a little buffer because the roundness of it makes it hard to see. Yeah, it just disappears. We can give it a little bit of a buffer. See, I feel like the DX on the eggs is a bit stronger than I currently have it. Okay, it just disappears, but let's give ourselves a little bit stronger of a DX on this egg update. And by stronger of a DX, I mean yeah, it should move further. The egg should move further left or right. upon bouncing. Yeah, that's a little more like the original, I think. And then we can still get points. Let's do a little buffer on that. But we can't because we'd have to write a new function to give it the buffer. Unless we would need to give it a new function. We want a buffer to be in there. I think it's fine. Once the points are on there, it'll be easier to see. It won't be so drastic when the egg disappears out of nowhere. We need to give ourselves a time that we can't pick up the egg upon instantiation. So that, oh, that was weird. Oh. That was weird. They're coming from the graveyard. It's like it kept its dx, reset its x, but we need to reset its dx too so it doesn't move and then fall. We need to reset its dx and its dy as well upon our ostrich colliding with it. So we need to go where? Here. Yeah, we need to set our vulture's dx back to 0. And our vulture's eggs dy to 0. Now we shouldn't get that problem, but we need the timer. You know, invincible or invulnerable egg needs to happen. Like, we need to have we have a flag called invulnerable. And we're not invulnerable just yet, but when our egg gets instantiated, like right here, we're gonna say invulnerable gets true. And then same if we're actually we can just say this once. We can just say this once here if egg spawn. So if egg spawn, we swap our invulnerable boolean, and then we need to say in this update function, we just need to say if self dot it's not self dot invulnerable, it's actually every egg hold on, this is in our vulture class. Where are we updating our eggs position? We are else if exploded. So if we're exploded, okay. If we're exploded, that's our trigger to set our self.eggs.invulnerable. I think that's right. Yeah, but our self.egg gets overwritten here on this instantiation. So we do need to say after this, if egg spawn, do that, set your egg spawn to false, and then set your self.egg.invulnerable, which is a Boolean field in our egg instantiation inside of our vulture class. So every vulture's got an egg, and every egg's got an invulnerable Boolean. And if we're egg spawn, that means we're gonna be invulnerable for a time, because we're then gonna in our egg spawn, we're gonna say our self.egg dot, we need an invulnerable timer in our egg, which is a number. Well, we need to say, we increment the timer by dt, and if the timer is greater than something, then detect collision, or like only detect collision if invulnerable is false. And then invulnerable stays true for like a fifth of a frame, or 0.2, something like that. So we're gonna increment this by delta time. So if our egg spawns, that means our timer is getting incremented, and then we are gonna only explode our egg, which we do here. Actually, no, we're only gonna check for collision with the player, which is where we do it here in play state. We do it here. We need to also say, and if vulture.egg.invulnerable is true. Invulnerable, is that right? And then in our, where do we do that? In our vulture, we need to put that if we're, or since we set egg spawn to false, we need to do this elsewhere. We need to say if self.invulnerable, then we need to increment our vulnerable timer, and then if our egg's invulnerable timer is greater than a 0.2, then we actually need to set our self invulnerable back to false. At which point we can then render then we can check for our player collision on our egg by saying and not vulture egg invulnerable. So this line of code will only move the egg, effectively deleting it and incrementing your point only if the egg's not invulnerable. So let's see if this gives us some leeway. If someone's falling or driving towards us, okay, we didn't give ourselves an invulnerable timer up here. But okay. initialize it to 0 and then we need someone to fly towards us so we can check. Oopsie. See how I missed that egg? I couldn't pick up that egg. I don't know if I could pick up any of the eggs actually. Yeah. It looks like our invulnerable isn't getting swapped right. And it's not, okay, it's not self.invulnerable, it's self.egg.invulnerable. And if we are invulnerable, we increment our timer. And if our invulnerable timer is greater than 0.2, we're no longer invulnerable. Okay. Fuck. I feel like this is too little. Or this needs to be a little less. And then we're not swapping our invulnerable correctly. Because if we take this line out, we should be able to still delete our eggs. Yeah. But and not vulture.egg invulnerable. Okay. Let me just print out. See, it's hard to print out debugging when it's a member of a class, right? Because it's like we either hard code it and then have to specifically test it on that certain ostrich, or do something else. Let's print out one of the ostrich. We'll say we're gonna print up vulture1's.egg timer. What's the timer called? Invulnerable, but then it goes invulnerable timer, egg.invulnerable timer. Okay, .egg.invulnerable timer. So we'll see if this is incrementing correctly to start to debug that. We don't know which vulture1 though, what that one is. So yeah, it looks like the invulnerable timer does work. That time it let me pick up the egg. Right? That time it let me pick up the egg. Let me try they're flying towards me. Because the egg, we shouldn't be able to get the egg. Oh my god. Really? See, we shouldn't have been able to get the egg there, so maybe we see invulnerable timer is like not a fifth of a frame, we want it to be like a second and a half or something. So in our, we can try a 1.5. Because if the egg is flying directly through us, we don't want it to instantly detect that collision. We want to give us a little time. No, 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 no. See, we don't want to be able to get it like that. See, that's telling me something's wrong. It's actually detecting it right away. So we are invulnerable as soon as we spawn. And that's when we, oh, see, we don't want to do that here. And then if we are invulnerable, increment our invulnerable timer. If our timer is greater than 3, set us to false. So we should only detect a collision if we're not invulnerable. Oh, I turned that off, didn't I? Here, I turned it off in our play state update. We're supposed to be and not vulture.egg invulnerable. Let's see if that's doing it. God, I suck. Really, dude. Okay, I should be able to remove this because we shouldn't be invulnerable anymore. So let me print out if we're actually vulnerable. I'm gonna print out which vulture is actually vulture 1. And then do not the timer, but the value, the boolean, if we're invulnerable or not. See, this invulnerable, see how it still says true? That needs to get set to false, and it's not getting set to false. I think that would be, that's right here. So look, if our egg is invulnerable, this is like the main loop of our update function. We're saying if our egg's invulnerable, increment timer. If the timer is bigger than 3, then take our invulnerable to false. So why is it not? Why is it not? .egg .invulnerable, and then it's vulture .egg .invulnerable timer. Oh, it's not self .invulnerable, self .egg .invulnerable. So now, if the timer is 3 seconds, if the timer isn't greater than 3 seconds, we shouldn't be able to get the egg. So we can't get the egg until the timer's done. Cool. So now we just need the timer to be more accurate, like 1.5 seconds or something. Because if they're flying right at us, we don't want the egg to detect the collision right away. So we can pick up the egg, but if they're flying towards us, sorry, it's hard to get this just right. If they're flying towards us and we kill them, we can't get the egg right away, but we can get it right after it flies by us. So maybe, you know, we need this like a little bit less. Wow, I didn't think we could kill each other. Yep, that was good because it didn't let me grab the egg there. I think 1 second's probably good. Because, yeah, you have to go back and get the egg if you pass it like that, which I think is okay. We can make it a little faster. It's like we want a sweet spot of like maybe you'll get the egg, but maybe you don't. I think that's okay. Okay. Yeah, maybe the 0.08's okay, maybe a little less, I don't know. It's hard to say what was a good value. But you know, we got the explosion there. We got so the egg doesn't immediately disappear. Like if it appears the instant, yeah, just like that, we should be able to fly through it like that before we get it. And we got the explosions, right? Okay. Okay. One thing I want to do, I am able to pull more vultures up. And then I can come up again. It's okay. So yeah, we'll just need to add points now upon getting these. I do feel like we should have a little bit of a buffer there, but because it's like by the time here, I'll give us some more vultures real quick. Show you what I'm talking about. Okay. So if we look at this egg, oh, don't you kill me, don't you kill me. Okay. So like the egg can kind of fit under us. So the collision should almost be, because look, as soon as this line crosses this barrier, the collision will detect, but we're not actually touching the egg. So we should give it a little barrier, a little X buffer, so you have to be closer on top of the egg. But also we don't really want to do that when we're in the air. So if we're in the air, we should kind of just hit it right away if we're colliding, right? So I don't know if that's a big enough problem to change, or we just see, because it almost looked like in this one he had to like run through the egg to get it. But let's see. See how the egg went through us? Oh, see, look, yeah. Yep, see how the egg isn't a collision there. In our game, that would be. Oh yeah, look, that isn't even it. Okay, you gotta pass the egg. So we do need a different function for that. It's not a true AABB collision. It's almost like a point collision or something almost. Well, yeah, it's like you had to be true colliding with it and then. Okay, so yeah, maybe we can do something. We can use our. We actually don't have to write a new function for this. We can just go to our. Where are we doing the collision detection? In our vulture? Yeah, vulture.egg. Where are we? No, we're doing it here in our play state. We're doing Yep. Okay, so now we're gonna say this is only actually that logic if the player1.x is within 5 values. Well, how do we say this? If we're 16 long, then half of our body would be 8 pixels in. So we're trying to see if half of our body is at half of the egg. Our x, basically our middle of our sprites need to have the same x position, and the collision needs to be true in order for the egg to disappear. So we're going to say if our ostrich is x plus half of our ostrich's width, so the middle of our sprite, if the middle of our ostrich sprite is equal to our vulture.egg.x plus half of its width. Now I don't know if I floor the x position or not. That could be problems. Width divided by 2. Then that's when you actually move the egg. Let's try that. Let's see if that is working as expected or if it messes up. So only when our x's are equal will we actually collect the egg. See, I don't think we're flooring our x position. Let's print up our ostrich's x position real quick. If this is a decimal, we're not flooring it. Yep. See, so we should be flooring our x position, because our x position shouldn't be a decimal place like that. It should be an exact pixel. So whenever we update our ostrich's position, we need to floor it. But it's only its final position, like we need to... Yeah, where would it be? Right here. It's like we need to say, fuck, do we have to floor all this? I think we can just floor our x and y right at the end here. Like, hey, by the way, whatever our updated x is, just floor it. And or y. Yeah, I think we can say just math.floor our x, and then we're also gonna floor our y. Might as well. That might make it look smoother playing too, but we'll see. Now we're looking for that to not be a decimal. on our X, which is good. Oh. Okay. And our egg is still not working, so we need to do something different. I still think we should probably actually floor that, but where are we doing the thing? Where are we doing? Here. You know, we need to check two conditions. If the player X is smaller than our player's X would need to be smaller than player X plus our player width. The right side of us needs to be smaller than the right side of the egg, but we need to give ourselves a buffer. Egg smaller than egg's X plus half its width, right? Right side is smaller than the middle plus some. So egg plus 4 would be the middle of our 8x8 egg, I think. Yeah, 4 would be the middle. So we're saying if our player's right side would be smaller than the middle plus 2 pixels, we'll say. And the left side of our player. The left side of our player is bigger than the egg. Egg X plus 2. And this egg is actually vulture.egg, and so is this one. So now we're not doing collision, or our eggs don't have, our X positions have to be exact because of that floor issue we were getting. So now we can just say our X's have to be close, within a 4 pixel, within a 4 pixel difference of the middle of our egg. You have to be as the player in order to get the egg to disappear and the points to increment. So we should be able to walk up to the egg, be fairly close and not get it. But then if we walk further, we should get it. The right side of our player is smaller than, like, if we just do, can we do true AABB here just to prove that it's working? And the left side is greater than the leftmost side. I just want the egg to disappear at this point. Why does it not do that? If player 1 collides that's working, but then none of this is working. Because if we take this out, our eggs are back to disappearing. Yep. But that's the true... Fuck. Bounder, Hunter, and Shadow Lord are the three. Okay. We're close. I don't get why this isn't working though. So we're checking within the full collision if a more tight collision is happening. But yeah, I don't get why that wouldn't work. Like, what if we just said player X had to be smaller than the right side of our vulture egg? So this would mean if we just did this, we should only disappear the egg if we're on the left side of the egg upon the collision. So let's come at it from the right and see if we disappear it, and then hopefully we don't, and then hopefully we can keep moving left and trigger it. So like, we should be able to walk up to it and it not disappear. What the heck? Player 1x is smaller than... We'll just do smaller than the left side of our egg. We can walk it through on the right. Okay, so we should be able to get close, yeah. Okay, and then it should only disappear when we get to be the left side of it. Okay, so that works. But then that means on this side, it disappears as soon as we're colliding, which we don't want. Yeah, we don't want that. So this one's working. We're saying, hey, we make sure you're smaller than... Okay, yeah, we don't want that. We want our x to be in between two values, yeah. So it's like, we want... Yeah, we want the right side. Why wasn't this working? So if we give ourselves player 1 dot width, we're gonna say if the right side of our player is smaller than the egg x plus 6, the right side is smaller than six. Let me just make sure this still deletes the egg. We'll come at it from the right again. Yeah. That's not right then. If our right side, I guess we want to see if our left side is smaller than... Hold on a sec. Yeah, if our left side is smaller than that, we should trigger it when our player's X is 2 pixels away from being perfectly in the center of this egg. Yeah. So that's not exactly right though, because in the game you can like almost walk right on top of it. So we need it to be, if our X is smaller than, the left side of our player is smaller than, yeah, let's just do 1 pixel buffer there. Or do a 1/2 pixel buffer. So we're trying to see if our left side of ostrich is smaller than the right side of that. And we're trying to see if the right side of our player is greater than the player's X plus 3.5 pixels in, giving us that same 1/2 pixel buffer. So now we should be able to get close to it, have it not disappear, but only when we're about in the middle of it, have it disappear. Yeah, so look, that's not a trigger. See, even that was, I don't know if I agree with that. I feel like I need to floor us properly. Again. I need to try that again. Because see, that shouldn't, according to the original, that shouldn't have triggered it. Yeah, that shouldn't have triggered it either. Player 1's right side is greater than, yeah. Huh. See, that shouldn't trigger it until the middle of us. So yeah, we should be able to get basically walking right on top of it just before it disappears. Yes. We'll try from this side too, just like the original. No. No. And our right side needs to be smaller than the player's one. Needs to be bigger than. Okay, I'm hoping this will fix it. We should be able to almost walk right on top of it, just like the original, right? Bitch. Get it. Just... oh my god. Just die. See, we don't want that. We don't want that. It's because the, we don't want to do that. Because if we're moving fast enough, our X doesn't hit that position. I don't know what to do here. Because we need it to, yeah, if our DX is moving fast enough, just checking the X position like this isn't going to cut it. Okay, I'm going to say, and our player1 DX has to be, we want to do this only, we want to do this when our player DX is smaller than, no, we want to do true collision like we want to say, do this special one if our DX is less than 5 or something. Less than 0.5. What is our vulture's instantiated DX? Negative 0.5. So if you're going, you'd want to go slower than that. If we're walking real slow, then use this hitbox stuff. Otherwise, just do it. Because like that'll have the ability of detecting if we're moving really fast with a DX. We still detect a collision, and we still reset that egg to be nothing. But if we're walking, we have that closer DX reset. So I'm hoping if we're walking, oh well, shit, I don't know, man. If DX is slower than 2 upon that collision, if DX is slower than, maybe if we do slower than 0.4. Oh, and you know what? We'd want to say if the absolute value, because if we're moving left, we want to make sure. So yeah, we should be able to get really close to it before it disappears. Not like that. And not like that. DX. Yeah, this isn't quite right. Because we're checking collision in every frame. And then saying, it's like we need to see it here. You know, we need to say here if our if the absolute value of our DX is less than 4, then then if this stuff, reset it, but then we need to say else, right? We can say else if our dx is greater than that 0.4, then just reset it. That's not doing anything differently. No, yeah, if we're moving slow enough, we can't delete it unless we have that closer detection. So that might actually be, that might work. We'll see if that is working. 250. On what? Place there. Here. Okay, we're gonna check for the slow collision first. So hopefully we can walk up to it. Yes. And then still get it. Yes. And then if we run by it really fast, we should just get it. Cool. I think that's right. So we'll see if walking at close to 0.4 dx is enough, is slow enough to still register our, you know, we gotta run at like just 0.4, as close to 0.4 as we can. I don't know if that was 0.4 or faster than 0.4. It might have been faster. We're just trying to walk. We want to make sure we don't miss the egg. See, we did miss the egg. So it needs to be maybe smaller than 0.2. Because we don't want to miss the egg like that. Because there's such a small window. It's only like 1.5 frames of pixel lenience to detect that pickup upon walking slow. Okay. See, but we should have been able to get closer to it than that. I want to print up our DX so we can see that, like, we see what our 2.9 DX would look like here. So if we put our DX here, we're going to try for a 2.9 DX on the collision for the egg. We're going to go for Yep. And then we want like a 0.29. Yeah, because we should be able to walk up really close to it. And we can still get it there. So that's working, I think. If we do it again and go faster than 3.3 dx, if that makes the egg disappear too fast. Yeah, see how like that, it looked like the egg should have still stayed there. So we have to play this game of inching up this threshold. Inching up the threshold of our, where is it? Inching up this. So if we do, we want to make sure we still detect that collision going fast, 3.9. If we go 0.39 and we don't pick up the egg, that means we've gone past the, we've got to take that threshold down. So I'll get as close to 3.9 as I can. Oh yeah, just under 0.4, and we'll see. It doesn't pick it up. So yeah, we're past that threshold. I don't know of a way to do it other than this, but we can try 0.35. Let's see if we pass it at 0.35. We pick it up. If we pick it up at 0.35, that's about the max we can do. And we also don't want it to be so, we want to make sure we're given. This is how you get points, so you don't want to screw them over. So I want 3.4. Keep getting the same numbers. Dude, I can't get the 3.4. We missed it. So yeah, maybe the 0.3 is the sweet spot. Because we can either make this window bigger and give us a little bit more speed, but the original made it look like you kind of had to be like right on top of the egg if you're walking really slow to get it. So I want to keep it at that lower threshold, and we'll just see. Yep, that still gets it. And that gets it. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. Okay, so we added the not only the little explosion sprite for our eggs, but we added picking them up as well. We don't have points yet still, but we're very close to having points. We can add it real quick. We added white explosion where egg is instantiated. Yeah, we still need invulnerability upon respawn, and then we need the flashy temporary safety. And then we need points. Figure out how that works. Like, depending on what tier of vulture you kill, the egg, I think if you collect it in the first 3 seconds of it being instantiated, you get full points, and then after 5 seconds you get less points, and then after 10 seconds it hatches or something like that. So we'll have to figure out that, and then egg hatching and everything. Gosh, which means we're gonna have to add a new tier to our vulture class. Well, we're gonna have to add tiers. We're gonna have to say, a bounder is a red ostrich and it has this AI, but a shadow lord. See, like bounder right here, bounder, hunter, and shadow lord. So bounder's red, white is hunter, blue is shadow lord. And they have different, not only different sprites, but different AI a bit as well. Well, I don't know if it's as much different AI as different stats. Like they have higher DX, faster DX, and maybe faster DY. I'm not exactly sure. We'll have to test that out. If we look at our work for the day, we gave our egg class an invulnerable boolean, and an invulnerable timer so that we can set our invulnerable to false after 0.6 seconds. And then we're checking collision on our egg and deleting it, moving it to the graveyard, the vulture graveyard, as it were. So we can add everything with a message saying that the things we did was what I just said, which was added egg in vulnerability. And this is just mainly for difficulty and for game accuracy, because if you got the egg the instant you collided with it, you basically get the egg as long as, or you'd get the egg right away in a lot of scenarios, and we want it to be a little harder. We want you to have to chase the egg, so we added it, the egg invulnerability and player+egg collision detection, or collision logic rather. And then we're gonna get push. Not too bad, we got 2 commits. That last one was 30 insertions, 4 deletions. Next episode, probably gonna be, we gotta figure out the temporary invincibility, but I'm not really too worried about that at this point. I mean, because it's like, a lot of the times when I die, I'm just trying to test the game, so I'm actually considering just turning off the collision detection for me, so that they can't kill me while I'm trying to test it, because I'm trying to turn them into eggs and whatnot. So if they couldn't kill me, that'd be useful for testing purposes. But yeah, so I might do that. I might start doing that. And then we'll turn it on when we want it to be on, obviously. But okay, it looked like eggs can be worth either 250, 500, 750, or 1,000 or something. Oh, just like it said right there, Shadow Lord's 1,500 for an egg of a Shadow Lord. That's pretty dope. So this is actually kind of telling me to get a high score, you want to hatch the eggs. You want to turn them into eggs, but let them hatch so that they get to be a higher tier, and then go kill them when they're the higher tier to get more points. That's a good design game. But yeah, we need temporary safety. And I guess what I was trying to say with that was, we don't want to implement temporary safety just yet, because it's not necessary for helping troubleshoot or debug the other features. What I'm saying is we just give ourselves temporary safety or perpetual safety so that we can continue to test this, and then that's going to be one of the later things we add, I guess. I don't know. It's just, it's up to us. But yeah. And I don't think there is hitboxes on the vulture after the egg hatch, but we'll have to see. Then we'll need to respawn from portals, and then we'll need to worry about waves, and then points and everything, figuring all that out. We're doing really good though. We're doing really good. We've made a lot of progress, and the rest of it, it's like, I feel like we're over the hump, if that makes sense, because it's like we've got our classes built, all of the other tiers in our vultures are going to be just modifications of our founder class vulture tier. And then waves, the trickiest thing is going to be that shortening platform, I think that shortening platform is going to be the trickiest bit. But even then, it's not hard because we just keep track of what wave we're on, and then we just change the ground platform to be less width every wave. So I actually don't think that's gonna be that hard. I mean, we do have to add the freaking hand that grabs you out of the lava if you're over there when the lava opens, and then add the bubbling lava level rising, right? Those things are going to be a little tricky, but we've got the code for the bubbles, so we can just modify it. Shouldn't be too tough. I feel like we're over the hump of the hard stuff of designing this game. Like, a lot of the hard part is the complete character control and the graphics and logic for the player's aerial mobility stuff. But we're doing really good. Really happy with this. Yeah, catch you later.